Hey guys, and welcome to another gear review. Now we are looking at a new plugin that has come as part of the Slate bundle, which is Liquid Sonnet's Lustrous plates. Now I think this has been out for a while before it became part of the Slate bundle, so it isn't necessarily a new plugin, but it's new for all the Slate users out there as myself, and I'm going to go into it and look a bit deep into it. So, this is a song called Sad Little Life by Team Love. I'll put a link to the Spotify and their Facebook in the description. This is something I produced and we released it just a couple of weeks ago. So I thought it would be a good start to kind of show what you can do with Lustrous plates, just because I use a lot of reverb on the vocals and a big kind of instrument reverb to start off with, and then I'll go through a few other projects and stuff and show what it can do on various instruments. Unlike a lot of people, I prefer to demo kind of reverb plugins in an actual mix environment. A lot of people will put like a click or a snare through it and just listen to the quality of the reverb. Now, this is all good and well to hear the reverb clearly, but you actually don't know what it will do in a mix, and it's kind of a false sense of what a reverb sounds like, as they do respond very differently to the kind of what you send through a reverb. It's something that suits a percussive sound might not suit a vocal, and vice versa. So as you can see, I've got the two reverb sends up here. I've got Instrument Hall and Vox Plate. So when I originally mixed this, I used Verve Suite Classics, another plugin by Slate and Liquid Sonics. That is great. I used the BM7 Hall and a plate and love it there. But I thought I'd try and get a kind of thing I like with the Lustrous plates, and it's good to go through the settings. So as you heard in the beginning, that was both of them going. There was a whole mix. So we'll just concentrate on the vocals, and I'm going to go through all the different features. Now if you hear me kind of sound like I'm reading, I do have the manual up in my other screen just so I can explain better what the various different parameters do, rather than just trying to remember off the top of my head, but I'll try to keep on point. So I think we'll go to the first verse and we'll just get some lead vocals by themselves. Now these were doubled in all the verses except the first one, so we'll go to the first one as that's just a single vocal. And I'll just get the vocal plate up here. So as you can see, there's a few parameters you'd expect from a reverb and a few you might not understand. So the most basic one obviously is Reverb Type. So there's 7 plates here. They all have different characteristics, different kind of dispersion characteristics, EQ, that kind of thing. So they're all in the manual explaining what is different about them, but you you get your choice of different plates. Then you've got Reverb Time Damper, you've got Frequency Dispersion. Now Reverb Time Damper is basically emulating the dampers you'd have on a classic plate reverb, and these kind of control how long the reverb goes for. Max is the most reverb, min is the least. Frequency Dispersion is kind of the arrival times at the mic pickup of different frequencies. So if the low end decays longer or the high end decays longer, it kind of does the character of that certain plate, and this changes with your different plate models. So that's basically those two parameters. We'll kind of go through them in a minute with some sounds, but I'll move on here. So character is basically just pre-delay and width. And what's really cool about this is you have tempo controlled pre-delay. So I've set it to 47 milliseconds because that's what I mixed it with. But what we'll do, we'll go through all the different pre-delays, as this is a tempo sync song, and you kind of, pre-delay I think on vocals is very important, and you can kind of get it in time with the song, which is really cool. Width is basically a mono to true stereo kind of thing. Modulation, it's kind of like chorus, but according to Slate, this isn't really a chorus added on top. It's a much more subtle modulation. Real plates don't have modulation as such, but I think this gives it a bit more kind of realism and a nice kind of depth to the sound. And then you got your mix, which you can lock off. All the parameters, I believe you can lock off. I'm not 100% sure there. I think equalization you can lock off, level and dry, wet. So I have them locked off so I can change all the settings and go presets, and it keeps it as a send. Then you've got EQ. You've just got a low cut, low band, high cut. Now this is very important. I tend to just use the Cubase stock studio EQ on all my reverbs before and after. Just as a simple digital EQ, but it just lets me control the sound of the reverb. So let's go listen.
Seasons come and the seasons go. I stick around, just laying low, invisible enough to love you from afar. That's just the way unrequited passions are.
So as you can hear there, I'm pretty heavy-handed with the reverb tone. So we'll go through some presets first, I think, on vocals, just so you can get a bigger scope, and then we'll go back to my preset, which I will save now just to show you how to save it. So you've got user presets here, and you can just go save user preset and then name it, and it saves you in a folder, whatever you want that to be. I'm going to call it large vocal. That way we can come back to it after going through some presets and we don't lose the settings. Okay, so I'm just going to set up a loop. We'll just play it through of this verse, and then we kind of can then listen to the reverb. So let me just... Cool. Okay, so we got our loop there. So basically I'm going to go through and we'll keep it solo for now so you can really hear the reverb, and then with some of them we'll just drop in the mix and see what it sounds like. So let's go to vocals. Let's go to Henge vocal.
The seasons come and the seasons go. I stick around, just laying low.
Drop in the other instruments.
Invisible enough to love you from afar. That's just the way unrequited passions are.
So I really like this one for the kind of
The seasons come
bigger sound, but let's go through something
and the
else.
seasons go.
Huge vocal.
I stick around, just laying low.
That's kind of cool.
Invisible enough.
The silver plate is a little bit shorter, so
From afar.
prefer something different. And let's go large dark
That's just the
vocal.
way unrequited passions are. The seasons come.
And this is your more subtle, kind of works for a lot more normal stuff. We'll go to another song later once we've gone through the reverbs, which has, it's a little bit tighter. It doesn't need as big a reverb for more kind of the usual applications. I just thought I'd use this song to kind of show a bit more of the extremes. Anyway, let's move on to another one. Let's go Monobox.
The seasons come and the seasons go.
It's more of your vintage kind of, almost delayed thing going on.
Just
Cool.
laying low,
and bright.
invisible enough to love you from afar. That's just the way unrequited passions are.
So as you can hear, just using the presets, you've already got a range of different sounding plates, very different qualities. So you can kind of start with that and then adjust to your taste. So we'll go back to large vocal. And what I want to do is basically show the reverb timer and the pre-delay, because this is a big effect. And then we'll go through the different plates. I'll keep on the rhodium plate for this one because I really like the rhodium plate, and like I said, then we'll go through different plates. So
The seasons come and the seasons go. I stick around, just laying low, invisible enough to love you from afar.
that's a lot shorter there, a lot tighter.
That's just the way unrequited passions
That's a max,
are.
as long as it goes.
The seasons come and the seasons go.
So next I'll look at frequency dispersion, and you can kind of hear what it's doing there. I just might turn the level up a bit just so you can hear a bit more. It's obviously overcooked, but you can kind of hear the subtlety there.
The seasons come and the seasons go. I stick around, just laying low, invisible enough to lay you from afar.
So what's that really doing there is, at minimum, all the frequencies are arriving at the same time, which has a kind of, it's got more of a reverb sound. You can kind of hear the reverb more, but it's less complex and a little less kind of natural sounding. It sounds a little bit fake, and as you bring it up, it gets more and more complex, but then you don't necessarily want that effect. So I really like with the high dispersion for this kind of setting, with the damper here, but it will depend on what you're going for. So say we take it to the middle.
The seasons come and
we go all the way to max.
Go.
You can hear the low end's kind of different in its decay.
Just laying low.
I think I like it around here.
Visible enough to...
Now this will sound quite different depending on what plate you're going, because they all have different dispersion characteristics. So it's something you kind of choose the plate you're going for, and then dial it in afterwards. Same with the reverb time damper, because they've got different reverb times. Now I'm just going to quickly show you the pre-delay, which I mentioned before, because I find pre-delay very important, and the fact that this has got kind of syncing is really cool, because you can do some cool things with it. So I'm going to turn the pre-delay to 47, which is the mix setting. We're going to put it on the reverb damper back up here, about here. We're going to play it with the track, and then I'm going to adjust the pre-delay in time. I'm going to turn it off and then adjust it in time. So this is how I mix it.
Seasons come and the seasons go. I stick around, just laying low.
And the same thing with no pre-delay.
The seasons come and the seasons go. I stick around, just laying low.
So you actually, sounds like the reverb's a little shorter, and it also kind of covers the vocal up a little bit more. Now, because this is a very nice sounding plate with the frequency dispersion up high, it still does, you don't drown that vocal just by putting the pre-delay down, but it's a good technique to use pre-delay to kind of let the clarity of the vocal through, and then the width, and then you don't need to use as long reverb times as well. Okay, so let's use the pre-delay at 16th.
The seasons come.
It's almost like you can hear the delay now.
I stick around, just laying low.
So a kind of nice doubling effect, and you can probably bring the level down a bit.
Enough to lay you from afar. And that's just the way unrequited passions are.
Okay, so we're going to just ramp it up a little bit. Let's go to an 8th. It's a pretty obvious one.
The seasons come and the seasons go. I stick around, just laying low.
Now this can have a cool effect on some like dance music and stuff, where you want the clarity in and then it's got this thing, or some kind of weird strange effects. For this kind of vocal, it's a bit extreme, and we can go all the way to a dotted half note, which with a big reverb damper and a high level get a really strange effect.
The seasons come and the seasons go.
And a half.
Stick around, just laying low.
But if you use a quick reverb time damper, change the dispersion, a lot more modulation, you kind of get this kind of spooky delay kind of thing going on.
The seasons come and the seasons go.
Or even on a quarter.
I stick around, just laying low.
Cool. We'll go back to where I had it on, I think 16. I think we'll go to 32. I think that's a bit better. Bring the reverb damper all the way up and dispersion all the way up. And bring that modulation back down a little bit. I like the modulation. And we'll just quickly look at the character knob and then we'll go through some plates. So this basically is stereo width.
And the seasons go, I stick around, just laying low.
Now, according to the manual, this shouldn't affect mono compatibility. Even at full true stereo, it doesn't have any phase problems with mono compatibility. So I tend to leave it up there because I'm going for big wide mixes. Now, if you're going for a vintage thing, you may bring it back down. If you want certain elements not to take up the mix too much, you can bring it back down. So let's go through the plates.
The seasons come and the seasons go. I stick around, just laying low, invisible enough to love you from afar. That's just the way unrequited passions are. The seasons come and the seasons go. I stick around, just laying low, invisible enough to love you from afar. That's just the way unrequited passions are. The seasons come and the
Now this one you
seasons
can hear is a lot shorter, even with the same settings. So like I said, adjust the damper depending on which plate you choose.
just laying low, invisible enough to love you from afar. That's just the way unrequited passions are. The seasons come and the seasons go. I stick around.
This one's really cool too for a different sound.
Low, invisible enough to love you from afar. That's just the way unrequited passions are.
So yeah, that's basically all the different plates. As you can hear on vocals, they do have various things. We will go through them again, different settings and everything with some other instruments, like I said. So what I'm going to do now is move on to the instrument hall. Now, you've already heard it a bit on the violin and piano at the beginning. So we're just going to solo them up and go to this violin section. So I originally had a hall on this, but I thought I'd try and get a hallish kind of sound out of the plate that I really enjoyed. So I'm just going to solo up these and where's the keys. Pull that up. So again, I was using the rhodium plate. I really like this one. I think it kind of has this kind of less metallic thing going on, which I really enjoy. So we're going to mess with the frequency dispersion. I'm just going to pump the level up a bit just so you can really hear it. I do have a little bit of pre-delay here, and then I'm going to try out some more presets that might suit an instrument better. So you can kind of hear that. So So I've really cranked up the level here so you can really hear it. Move the frequency dispersion up again. Yeah, I really like that. I might just move to a chrome plate and have listen there. Quite a different sound. It's almost, yeah, more immediate kind of. And the chrome plate. I think I like the chrome plate almost better. It's a bit more immediate. It's got a cool thing going on. But I'm going to pull back the damper and frequency dispersion a bit. Just EQ a little bit of this low band out. A bit of low cut. Pull back to a more natural level. And in the mix. Okay, so I'm just going to play the end of the song because in the last chorus, it's basically gets epic. You've got lots of harmonies, lots of the violin comes in. You kind of got this big ending bit. So you kind of just show both the reverbs on that and how they kind of blend together.
I know it's not much as far as great romances go, and I just sort of hang around with the people that you know. In my sad little life of laying low, and in my sad little life of laying low.
Just that end bit again, but I'm just going back to the rhodium plate, so back to our large vocal preset.
I wouldn't say I'm basking in the glow.
You can hear how it kind of really
I know it's not
gives a lot of width and awesomeness to those big vocals.
And I just sort of hang around with the people that you know. In my sad little life of laying low, and in my sad little life of laying low.
Cool, so that was kind of that song. Like I said, I put it down in the description. So that and 2 other songs are on Spotify now, so go check them out. So we're going to open up another project I was working on, and this is a bit more of a kind of, got a bit of a 60s vibe to it. It's a bit of a different reverb we're kind of going for, and this is where the shorter kind of plates, that it's kind of better for the this Lustrous plates. It's kind of better at the shorter kind of vintage thing. So we're going to open that up and basically listen to some of that. I do have a bit of percussion in here too, so I'm going to put on a bit of percussion, and then we're going to go look at some drums. That will be the proper 80s kind of snare plate thing. We'll look at that last. So feel free down below in the comments if you want to see anything or you want to know anything I kind of haven't covered in this video. I'm happy to cover it in another video. I am going to try and do a Reverb, kind of a Reverb 101 course at some point, which will look at a whole lot of things over just like what the basic reverb kind of controls mean, how you kind of get a certain sound, and then also post-processing, like putting your EQ on your reverb, compressors, gates, distortion, chorus, all these things you can kind of do to reverb to really make your mixes stand out. So we'll go through that at some time, and I'll let you know when that's all posted up. If this would just load, then we can go through this one. Okay, so I'll give you a bit of a listen to this. It's a song called Something Something Love Something Something by Jorge. Now, this is, like I said, more of a 60s vibe. I did use Verb Suite again on this, different preset, a lot shorter, but I'll just play you this kind of end section.
I don't know why I lose interest. Something love, something something. Or how my feelings die so quickly. Something love, something something. Something inside me might be broken. Something love, something something. I know it's you and not me. Something love, something something. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why.
So percussion and drums. On the drum reverb, I've got this Vox reverb and I've got this Hall on the guitars. Now, what is really interesting, there is this breakdown section 2, which I use a huge reverb for the guitar. So I'm going to show you that as well, which I haven't even titled that track, but I know what it is. So that kind of shows a bigger reverb. So we've heard enough vocals for now. I think we'll come back to the vocals and I'll show you some short stuff. But let's go listen to this drum verb. So the drums on this are, we've basically got a kit recorded with a single mic. And then I did a little bit of trickery in there with samples and stuff. And then some sampled clicks and claps. So let's just listen to the drums at the end section.
I don't know why.
Yeah, the vocals. Now with the reverb. Now if you see me looking over here, I have my mix rack over on this screen here, so that's where I'm muting stuff. So as you can hear, I'm not doing a lot with the reverb, I'm just giving it a little bit of space. And the main thing is for these claps. So if I go to battery here, got these clicks and claps. So I'm just going to solo them. Now with no reverb. That's with all the drums there. So let's go through some drum presets. I'm going to save this so we can come back to it again. So you just go manage user preset, save user preset, and I'll go drums plate. And we'll just kind of listen to this section. I've got on loop. Let's go through some drum presets. So we've got bright ambient. Pretty similar to what I had going. Bit of a shorter one. Kind of cool. some chrome drums here. Kind of like that one. Snare verb, which we will use later on in a drum kit. Now this has a pre-delay on it and you can kind of really hear it there. Same with this. Soft room and tight drums. So I kind of like the bright ambience. I'm going to go with that. And just put the reverb timer down a bit. And let's put the mix back in. No drum reverb?
I don't know why. I don't know why.
Drum reverb? It's not doing a whole lot, but it's just letting it sit in there a bit better. Mainly because of the mix of the drums. Okay, so moving on, I'll show you this little guitar part. Now, basically, all these guitars I had spring reverbs on. But what I decided to do was replace this kind of electric guitar part with this reverb here. So I've got this on there. So the spring reverbs I was using in Guitar Rig, I've now replaced with plates. So we're just going to solo that up and listen to the two sections. So in this kind of bridge section, what I've done, which is just here, is I've still got the reverb on the actual channel, and then I've sent it to this other longer reverb to give this kind of big swell kind of thing. So I'm just going to play you the section before that, which is just basically this electric rhythm reverb, which I've got a chrome plate, and then we'll play the next section and you can kind of hear how that goes. So if I go electric rhythm solo. So you kind of hear that 60s thing. I'm going to increase the timer a little bit. Increase the high end a little bit, I think. And just a little bit more reverb. It's a bit like a spring. It isn't a spring reverb, but it's got some of that kind of thing going on. And this other reverb comes in here. And then I faded out there. No reverb. So you hear how much it has to do with the sound there? Cool, and I'll just show you that section. You kind of get that section a little bit in the mix, you kind of hear it. So, this can go.
You asked me round. We watched Ace Ventura. You cuddled me all night long. You didn't realize that all I wanted to do was sleep.
You can kind of get a fair bit of different kind of plate reverbs and stuff going on there, and they've all got different characters and they can fit into a mix pretty well. It's not like a lot of the time when you hear plate reverb like based on an actual plate. I'm not talking about the 80s plates, which I actually really like, but they're their own kind of thing. You kind of get one sound or like a couple of sounds. Like there's the EMT 140 Abbey Road plates, which is based on the plates the Beatles used. And you kind of just get the sound of that plate. Like you can change it a lot, but it is kind of that couple of models and that kind of thing. Cool, really cool plugin though. But this, you can get sounds that I wouldn't associate so much with a plate reverb, I think. They're a bit different, and I really like that. So let's just go to drums now. I'll open up another project and we'll go to drums just because a lot of people like plates on the snare, and we kind of hear what it sounds like there. Okay, so here we have some drums. This is all just programmed drums. This is just a demo I'm kind of doing. So I'm just going to play a bit of the drums with no reverb. And then I've just got basically a drum plate I've set up. Drag that in. And we'll go through some of those presets. But it's kind of on the snare, it's on the tom, and it's on the ambience channel. So this is... So I'm just going to mute it. Okay, and put it on now. Okay, now we just listen to the drums and we'll go through a few things. So again, the rhodium plate. I really like that rhodium plate. I think I've just put on everything. It's got this really... I think it's because it almost doesn't sound like a plate. That's really cool. But we could go mono. It's got a more kind of cool sound to it, or really like this. If you want a tighter sound, I reckon we go Corbomite. You can turn the modulation off. Go medium width. And we can go to pre-delay to get a kind of cool thing here. Or change it to beryllium. That's cool, but I can turn the pre-delay off again. Bring it back up. Let's just try a different preset here. There's a very different character there right away. That's different drum sound completely. Right ambience. Maybe if we want to go tight drums. Totally different. That's got a kind of slightly 80s sound to it, but I like it. Anyway, that's probably enough to get an idea. Now, there's a few features I haven't spoken about. They're just very small ones, and it's under this settings menu. Now, you've got the efficiency, and what this does is add latency to take the strain off your CPU. Now, a lot of these projects have a lot going on, so they're very CPU hungry, so I'm running everything at high at the moment. Adds shit tons of latency, but you don't stress your CPU. Now, if your CPU can handle it, Zero latency means you can still play keyboards and all that, and it doesn't affect the latency, and you get these gorgeous sounding plates. And this is multiple cores. Now, there's also a setting in here if you're using higher sample rates that lets you downsample, so you don't have to use the plates at the higher sample rates to save CPU as well. And also there is these themes. Now, under parameters, you've got these lock parameters. Like I said, you can lock anything. So say you set up the pre-delay for your song you liked. You just lock the pre-delay and say you want to lock the mix, lock the pre-delay, and maybe the width too. Like, they're the settings you like, but you want to change all the other things to try and find the right reverb. You just lock them. They don't keep changing, and that allows you kind of to start at a base where you like certain things and change all the things you don't like with using presets and stuff. So you can change all the presets, but it'll keep all them same. So say I go to vocal preset, all of those are set the same, which is really cool. So thanks again. That was Lustrous Plates. Like I said, smash down in the comments below if you want any kind of follow-up video to explain anything that I might have missed. And like I said, I'm going to try and do this reverb thing, and I'm going to try and look at the rest of the plugins that came out lately from Slate, well, part of the bundle. So this one, like I said, was already Liquisonics. The other one is the Overloud THU, and that's a Slate-specific version of the full software with a few less features and a few cool things added to it. And then the other one was Slate Gates, so we'll look at them at some time. And I don't know what my subscriber count is right now, but as of recording this video, I am in the mid-900s. Now, it'd be great if I can get to 1,000, so if you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe down below.